Hey guys, I'm Torie, and you're listening to That Girl, the podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in because the new episode is starting now. Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl Torie, and I'm back with a whole new podcast episode. I love how I've fixed my desk literally 1 week ago and it's already covered and stuff. Just over here though, and it's bunny treats because their subscription box came yesterday, so forgive me. I know, I need to clean it. Hello, welcome to another podcast episode. It's great to be back. I love talking to you guys. I missed you and all that fun stuff. I'm really excited about this episode because it is red flags and green flags that you see in a relationship, specifically with a partner. So in my point of view, it's going to be in the point of view of like a male partner because that is who I've seen the red flags in. However, they're pretty general. So yeah, I am really excited. Before we hop on in, of course though, we have to do our life updates. So first off, if you are watching this, yes, I got my degrees hung. You can only see one of them right now, and then my cute little graduation caps that I decorated, but they're hung behind my desk. It's so fun, so fresh, and I love it. It took forever. I was on the phone with my sister while I was hanging it, and I was like, Faith, I'm ready to end it all. I'm being dramatic, but there are literally 20 holes under these frames. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot, and I had to rest after that. It just put me through it. But they're up, and I did it without the help of a man. Literally all feminism leaves my body when it's time to hang something in the house or take the trash out, but this time Josh was at work and I just wanted it done, so I did it, and I live to tell the tale. So an inspiration for everyone. There we go. I know, I live to be an icon. But yeah, other than that, I don't know if I told you guys, because this was probably a couple months ago now, but I got off of Big BC, the birth control, and it has been rough, not gonna lie, mainly because I haven't had acne since probably middle school, and I've been on birth control for 7 years, so like it pretty much took care of any birth control related things like acne. Not birth control related things, hormone related things like acne. So yeah, rude awakening, did not appreciate it. But I got a new face wash. It's Miranda Care, the Victoria's Secret model, her brand, called Cora. It's really good for you, really organic. Josh got it for me for Christmas and it finally got here. For some reason it was like behind, but I've used it twice now and I love it. Hopefully it clears my face up. It's definitely in the process, but again, if you're watching this, I don't know if you can tell, but I have quite a few spots, and obviously I'm not the happiest about it. It's not like my favorite thing about myself, so really excited for that. Also, side note, I am happy to do an episode on all the birth control that I've been on, because I've been on so many different types, resources, like the pros and cons of birth control, all the research I've done, what it was like getting off of birth control, things I do to help me transition off of it, anything like that. But since it is such a controversial topic and sensitive for some people, I didn't want to do the topic if no one was really interested in it, or just like, yeah, had no interest in learning more. So let me know either down below or DM me on Instagram, comment on my TikTok if you would like more episodes on birth control, as well as just like your cycle and things like that, because it's such a beautiful thing, and I've definitely been learning how to celebrate it and live with it instead of like dreading it. And I just think it's so stupid that it's like taboo and like men fall apart when they hear about it, because it's an everyday part of our life. Like, I mean, women are like half of this planet. Not women, okay, not women, because we're not doing the gender thing, but like people that cycle make up like half of this planet. So I'm just saying, like, maybe we should be more open about it, more educated about it maybe. And yeah, so I don't want to like talk about something that you guys don't want to really hear about, but I think it's a really important topic that we should talk about more. So let me know if you agree, if you would like me to help you out. I have some wonderful people that I would love to be guests on here that also are very knowledgeable on it, even way more knowledgeable than me, and I would love to pick their brains. So definitely let me know. Continuing on, obviously, if you're on the Instagram or you're on YouTube or you're even just looking at the cover photo right now, we switched our branding over, so it's a new era for That Girl. I got it all done, really excited about it. I hope you guys love it as much as I do. Let me know what you think of it, because I just love compliments, you know? It makes me feel better about myself. So tell me how much you love the cover art, how much you hate the cover art if you're not a fan of it. I love critiques, all that good stuff. I definitely feel better about 2023 versus last year. It kind of feels like a breath of fresh air. This is going up on the 4th. I'm recording it on the 4th, but I definitely feel like renewed. I don't know, refreshed. I feel like I can take a breath, and it's really weird because nothing's changed and I've never felt this way about a year before. I'm just really, really excited to see what's in store, and I feel like there's just like new surprises around every corner, and I don't know why I feel that way, but I'm not mad about it. Like, we should all live like something amazing is about to happen, you know? Just keep telling yourself like today's gonna be amazing, something amazing is gonna happen today, because boy oh boy has it been a treat. And last final thing before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe or follow. It really, really helps out my podcast, and I would love for you to join our community of girlies, all working to become the best version of ourselves. Yeah, here? All right, so we are gonna go ahead and jump in. So starting off, I really want to have a disclaimer and say that just because your partner has a red flag does not mean that you should automatically break up with them, throw the whole man away, or that whole thought. I feel like there is definitely this unhealthy trend going around, not even a trend, like I don't even know what to call it, but where your friends will say if your boyfriend does one thing wrong, to break up with him. Like, oh, he doesn't do this, throw the whole man away. And while I understand that they just want what's best for you, I feel like a lot of the time we are totally taking ourselves out of the equation, and we ourselves are not perfect. We also have red flags. And that's not saying that there aren't red flags that we definitely should pay attention to. Like, there are some flags in here that are automatic, get out, like, do not talk to this man, leave. However, there are some that, like, they're not that big of a deal, and just because your friend says they don't like that your boyfriend did this and you should break up with them does not mean you should listen to them, because it's so toxic. Like, you think that you listening to someone and breaking up with someone because of a red flag is not being toxic, but I disagree. I think it's so toxic to break up with someone because of a minor red flag, simply because your friend told you to, or you got hyped up, because we ourselves are not perfect. So I hope this made sense. I don't know. I try to make it make sense, but I don't know. It just drives me so insane when I've had people tell me so many times, like, break up with him because he forgot to tell you you're beautiful today. Like, no, maybe he was tired. And, like, I don't tell him he's the most handsome man ever every single day. Like, they're human beings. We shouldn't, like, stop putting your mans or your womans on a pedestal in that way. You can definitely put them on a pedestal, but don't act like they have to be perfect, because you yourself are not perfect, and we are all just working to become our best selves. Also, just because they have a red flag doesn't mean they can't change. I'm not saying to wait around for a man to change, but some of these are minor and things that are definitely going to change, especially if they are younger and getting older. Okay, so as I stated, some of these are red flags, but not that big of a deal. Some are immediate no's. I kind of put little things next to these to tell you which ones are like a deal breaker in my opinion and which ones aren't. All of this is subjective in my opinion, as well as flags submitted by people on my Instagram. So if you do or don't agree with something, all good in the hood, no worries, keep on hanging. If there is a flag that I missed and you want to tell me about it, go ahead and comment on my Instagram and let me know. Sound off. I'll post something on TikTok too. We can all talk about it. What a good time. And, you know, follow my Instagram if you want to participate in these types of things moving forward. So, first we're going to talk about the red flags, and then we're going to bring it on home with the green flags, because we're going to sandwich the negative between the positives, like an Oreo. Yum. So the very first thing I'm going to put on here is bad hygiene. If you walk in and a man has bad hygiene, for me, it's not always a deal breaker, and let me explain. because bad hygiene is such a spectrum, it doesn't necessarily mean like just because they have bad hygiene it's bad. Like maybe they live with roommates and their roommates are actually the ones who create the mess. It's one of those things where you have to kind of feel it out and see how much is actually him, and maybe at the time he's working like 60 hours a week. You don't know what he's doing, and obviously you should still prioritize your hygiene, but if he's like not doing his laundry every single day because he works 60 hours a week, that's something we can work on, and like with time it's probably gonna change. Whereas like he showers once a year, yeah, immediate no. So bad hygiene is one that definitely depends, but not necessarily a deal breaker. Next is putting the boys before you, specifically in a serious relationship. So if you've been dating for 2 weeks and he puts the boys before you, I honestly think that's a good thing, because that means that he knows how to be independent. Obviously not every single time, but you don't want a boy who's clingy, which I'm gonna get into. However, if you're in a serious relationship, you're thinking about getting married, you've talked about getting engaged, and he is still putting the boys before you on a normal basis for things like going to get a beer and not like serious things. And I'm not talking about scheduled events with the boys. Like, we all have a calendar, fill it up, baby. But if he's just like, you have a date night planned and he's like, my best friend just called and we're going to B-dubs, like, then we have an issue, you know? So this is one of those that seriously depends, and you're just not going to know until you're in a serious relationship. But I think you can kind of tell from the beginning how much he's going to put the boys before you later on. I think. I don't know. I could definitely tell with Josh when we first started dating, because he still hung out with the boys, but it was not as much. But I don't know. Like I said, things that are planned, not a big deal. What I'm talking about is sporadic events that like totally cut off what you guys had planned and things like that. Hyper independent, or not hyper independent, which can be an issue. That's an emotional thing we'll get into. But hyper dependency, like clingy, dependent on you, cannot live without you. You do not want a boy who says he can't live without you. Please. That is a case waiting to happen. And I can say that because I've been in that kind of relationship. Like, you don't want a boy who doesn't know how to live without you. Like, you're their entire world. Because as romantic, we literally romanticize that, but that is like, no. I ended up breaking up with this guy because of a bunch of reasons, and it turned into like harassment, stalking, because he didn't know how to live without me, which is fine. I'm not like tooting my own horn like, oh, that's so cute that like you didn't know. No, it's not. No, you can see signs of this from early on, and I just ignored them, and my friends were telling me like, hey, he's really like dependent. Like, you can't even go out to dinner without him freaking out because he can't call you. Like, that is not cute. That shit is not cute. Cut it out immediately. No, get out. Leave his key with him. Do not give him a key to your house. Move states. Just get out immediately. I personally, I think this is a matter of preference. I cannot stand, okay, car just like speeding through the neighborhood. We literally have children who live here in the neighborhood, not in my house. Anyway, this is one that I think it really, like I mentioned, matters like what you are looking for. But for me personally, I will never date a mama's boy. I really have to worry about this now because I think Josh and I are pretty serious, but any mama's boy I've ever met, ever come across, it has caused nothing but problems. And like, sometimes the mama slash future mother-in-law is bearable, but it's just gonna become an issue of like, it's me or her later on. And even if you don't have that mentality, I will put money on it, your future mother-in-law does. Like, very clingy. She is hyper dependent on her son, and mama's boy is just like, no. You need to be really careful with those, because if he puts in boundaries, yes, but still sometimes that mom is ruthless and is gonna cross lines. I feel like people are really starting to realize that in 2022 and into 2023. So like, y'all know that that's a red flag, but I'm still gonna put it on here. Acts like a child as an adult. No. And what I mean by this is his parents still do his laundry, His parents come over and do his dishes. He doesn't know how to order food without like having someone help him. Like, there are men out there. There are. I know that you guys don't see them, but I see them. I see them, I hear them, and I'm not with them. No, actually, like, they just don't want to grow up, and no, because guess what? You are just going to replace his family and do all those things for him. His family did his laundry, now you get to. His family cleaned his house, now you get to. And he's not going to want to do anything for himself, like get a job, because I'm willing to bet his family probably still pays bills. So, yeah, no, immediate no. On that same note, I personally think that if he lives with his parents after 20, in certain situations, it's an immediate no. Like, if he's saving up money and he has a good job and he's just purely doing it for financial reasons, understandable. If he's never moved out, has no idea what he wants to do with his life, and still lives with his parents after 20, he's not planning on getting out anytime soon. And he has no idea what he wants. And that's gonna include you, unfortunately. Or he may find out what he wants and it has nothing to do with you, and he's gonna just like leave. So that one may be a little bit extreme, but it depends. Read the room. I personally, it's a huge turn off for me. Bad with money, again, be very careful. I'm bad with money and Josh is bad with money, so it kind of leads for a very rocky financial situation. But like I said, I'm sure some of you are bad with money. Like, some of these are flags that we can see in ourselves right now. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful with it, and, you know, read the room, kind of get a good idea. And people typically don't talk about money early on, so you're not going to know what his finances look like, but you can get a good idea from like just hanging around him, seeing his spending habits. If he's spending $300 a day with the boys, like, you may just kind of want to be like, wow, how you do that? Like, kind of play dumb and be like, you must make a lot of money. Like, I don't know. You don't want it to make it sound like you're coming from a place of like gold digging. You want it to sound like you're coming from a place of like, I see us being together in the future, and if we are, then we're gonna have to know each other's financial situations. But like, you also don't want to come across as clingy. So if it's like your first date, don't be like, so how's your money? Like, you should definitely wait until you've been dating for a little bit to bring up financial habits. Has cheated before is an immediate out. I don't care if it was when he was 16. Out. Leave. No. I think this is a personal preference, but that is the one thing I have zero tolerance for. Zero is cheating. Do it once, do it again. No. Immediately leave. Like, I will not. I will give people chances. Like, say Josh messes up and it's really, really bad. For the most part, I would give him another chance. If he were to go out and cheat on me right now, I don't care if we have a house together, this house will be cleaned out by the time he gets home. Like, I'm not kidding. Cheating is an immediate no. Not a fan. Could not be me. Will not be caught with a man who has cheated. Triple text if you don't answer. Another sign of being clingy. Like, if you don't text him back and he just keeps texting you and keeps texting you and keeps texting you, no. Immediate no. Kind of falls under calling you if you don't text him back. Just no, we don't like it. Clingy. Talks about girls in a demeaning way. So like, for example, when he's with his friends, if you're watching him with his friends, which watching guys and how they hang around their friends is a really telltale sign of like what kind of person he is. But if he's hanging out with his friends and he's having locker room talk and talking about girls in a very demeaning way, objectifying, all that, it really depends on the person, how much you're willing to take and how much he'll say. Like, sometimes people are more willing to take jokes and some people aren't when it comes to like women. But yeah, get out, be careful. I personally like have I think that I'm pretty tolerant with things that are like actual legit jokes, but then there's like a line that it crosses for me, and I think if it were to cross that line, it would be like a get out. But since that line's different for everybody, I personally would say like, just know what your line is and be really careful and put your foot down and get out if it crosses that line. Okay, I don't care if he has a lot of girlfriends or if this is for the girl, she has a lot of guy friends. However, it's when they don't like you or don't know about you. So for example, if he hides his friends that are girls, has never let you meet them, kind of like pulls his phone away, just like doesn't let you go with him to hang out with his friends if there's girls there, that's an issue. Like, Josh has friends that are girls. I don't care. It's fine. Love them. They respect me, and like they get that like I'm his girlfriend, and they're not gonna cross that line. However, if he's like, no, she's not my friend, and like downplays the relationship that he has with them, or he just pretends that like you don't exist to them or they don't exist to you, that's when it's like, no. Be very careful. Get to the bottom of that immediately, because there's definitely something going on. Dating apps. You're not gonna find your true love on dating apps. Okay, it depends. Like, there's that rare one, but like when I was single and I went through the dating app thing, there was not a guy on there that I was like, okay, this is marriage material. And I have talked to so many people, and out of like the hundreds of people I've talked to about like dating and finding their one true love and all that and getting married, maybe 2 of them have said dating apps, and neither one of them have said Tinder. So Tinder is purely just a hookup app in 2023 from what I know of. No one's on there to date. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. Bumble's Hinge is but I just feel like the type of person you're looking to marry is probably not on a dating app. And you know, it depends, but signs aren't looking too good. Okay, on the same note of being attached, if he mentions marriage on the first date or within the first like week, that's a no. Or like mentions kids, well, if you're like drunk and he's like, this is what I would name our kids, that's one thing. But if he's like, yeah, when we get married, or like, I can't wait to marry you, that is, I think that's very cringy, very clingy, and I personally would get out. But I also have previous trauma, so like, you know. If his ego isn't in check, so he talks about himself a lot and doesn't ask about you, constantly talking about how amazing he is, all the cool things he does, when he scored that one football thing in high school, like that's personally a turn off for me. And I don't think it's necessarily something to break up with someone over, but I do think that if you are not into that kind of person, it's not gonna change. Like, that is one of those characteristics that do not change until he goes to therapy and does it for quite some time and actually listens to what the therapist is saying, which is a lot of steps. Make sure that ego is in check. Last red flag that I have, as of right now, I'm sure I could think of more, is if he's a sore loser. Mainly because it gives me the ick. Like, this isn't one to break up with someone over, but it's definitely something to think about. Like, if they're a sore loser, is that the person you really want to just like hang around? Because they can't have fun. Like, they take shit too seriously, in my opinion. Like, if you're a sore loser, it's not that serious. It's not meant to be that serious. Like, chill. And I'm not talking about like professional sports games. I am, but like, I feel like more guys are sore losers when it comes to that because they're emotionally attached. And in my opinion, they're fangirls, just like we're fangirls of like One Direction, Taylor Swift, all that stuff. Don't tell them that though. It's a fun little secret. But if it's like you're playing beer pong with the boys and they drop to their knees and throw a tantrum because they lost, which I have seen happen before, yeah, no, that's not attractive. So yeah, now that I have talked about some red flags, it is time to switch over to the green flags. Some things that I think are refreshing, reassuring, and nice little nods to give to your partner, you know, to see if they have it. First one is kind of obvious. It's manners. Holds the door for you. Yes, please. Thank you. Respects his elders, things like that. Love that. Chivalrous, so opens doors, waits for you to like go do things, and like if you're walking slower, things like that, holds your hand and helps you when you're in heels. Chivalry is not dead, ladies. You just have to find it. Good hygiene. So the opposite of bad hygiene, good hygiene. If he's got good hygiene, his house is clean, and it's not like a maid, he actually did it himself. We love that. And it's refreshing, you know? We love a man who brushes his teeth twice a day and does his hair every morning. Has good style. This one is not like huge, but for me, I think it's a green flag when someone has good style, because it shows that they kind of are up with the times, and they invest the time to explore their individuality while also knowing what's going on in the world, if that makes sense. So I don't know, kind of got deep. If he has friends, I feel like that's a green flag, because that means that he invests in like his social life. And you don't want a guy who is all about you. You want a guy who is with you because he wants to be with you, not because he needs to be with you, which I could go on forever, but still has a social life if you were there or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should not be each other's everything. You should not live or die by each other. You should have friends outside of each other, especially when you first start dating. Communication is the biggest green flag. If there's something wrong, he doesn't like that you did something, he should hopefully tell you. Like, just be honest with you. And that way, you know, good days, bad days, things like that. Just like good communication skills and being able to process his emotions and communicate them effectively while we're talking about that. Very good. Very good. A job or some sort of direction in life, has ambition, has goals. So like, he's in school, he has a job, he has a plan. These are all very, very green flags. I want to see ambition, I want to see drive, I want to see motivation, and I don't want to just see this man talk about it. I want to see him do it. I want to see him live it out, and I need to see proof before I start doing anything, before we start talking about dating, anything, all of that. This is a green flag for me. He doesn't always say yes to hanging out. Like, he's busy. He has a full calendar. And if you say, hey, let's hang out, and he says, oh, I'm already busy on that day, I'm going to see my mom, or me and the boys have dinner on Wednesday nights, I personally find that attractive, because it shows that he's independent. He knows, like, he's got a good life going, and he already has a life. Like, you shouldn't be giving him a life. He should have a life. You should just be enhancing that life. Is willing to tell you no. I love a guy who tells me no. Josh tells me no all the time. I don't want to be told yes. And again, this is like a personal preference. If you want like a golden retriever boyfriend that's always going to tell you yes, that's personal. But for me, I like a guy who tells me no, because it means he knows what he wants and he knows what he doesn't want. And he also kind of puts me in my place, which I need someone who does that. I don't want someone who kind of lets me go off on like tangents and just lets me act like a brat, because there are times when I can be dramatic. I want someone who's going to challenge me and make me a better person. And if someone's always telling you yes, they're not challenging you. Has a car. You would be really surprised how many men don't have cars. And if you're like in your 20s and dating, they should have a car or have a plan to get a car. Knows how to laugh at himself and has a sense of humor, please. We love a good jokester. But yeah, willing to laugh at himself is kind of like the opposite of being a sore loser. Like, if something goes wrong, he's willing to just like laugh it off and be like, oops, my bad. And he can take a joke. Like, if you prank him or make fun of him in like a teasing, flirting way, he's not gonna be like, are you kidding me? And get like butthurt. Like, I love that, because I'm sarcastic and I make fun of Josh all the time. He makes fun of me. It's kind of our love language, and I love it. Lastly, the last green flag that I have is someone who is an open book. Kind of on the flippity flop, I didn't mention this in red flags, but lying is my least favorite thing on the planet. I have ended friendships over lying. So that being said, someone who is an open book, someone who is honest, someone who isn't afraid to tell you anything. If you have a question, he's not like nervous and like doesn't know what to say. Like, he'll tell you exactly what's going on. I'll ask Josh a question about anything and he'll always tell me the answer. He doesn't care if it's like what I want to hear or not. Like, he's gonna tell me exactly what's going on. He doesn't hide anything from me. He's just an open book. Like, he's got plenty to tell me, and it's a good time all the time, and I don't have to worry about like anything. And it's not even like, oh, checking his phone or anything. It's just like in general, like, oh, so who's this friend on your Facebook? Like, because I want to know, like, I want to be invested in your life. Like, I want the tea, and like, we've been dating for almost 2 years. I want the tea. Like, I want to know who your childhood friends are. And so for him to like tell me and not hesitate and be like, ooh, like all weird, that means a lot to me personally, because I know that like there's trust and like open communication in a relationship. So yeah, those are some of my red and green flags. Like I said, they're tailored towards men. I have experience with men. That is my preference. So, but like I said, they're general, so they can relate to anyone. But I really appreciate you guys listening. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you're on a podcast platform, go ahead and, you know, comment on my TikTok or Instagram what you thought about this episode. If you have any other flags I missed, if you want to talk about any flags more and you were just dying to talk to me about it, I do that on podcasts sometimes. Sometimes I say something and I'm like, ooh, I wish I could comment. So I want to talk about it more with you. Like, literally, please talk to me about it. If you're on YouTube, you can just comment down below and we'll have a little chit chat about it. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, collect all the different versions of keeping up with this podcast. Make sure that you turn on the notifications. I upload every Wednesday and Sunday. If you're not following the Instagram and TikTok, like I said, that's where I post polls and things like that. So if you want to stay up to date on that, also, if you want to hang out on the TikTok, that's where I post like my funny, silly, spammy content where I actually have like dark humor and stuff. I show a little bit more of my personality. That's a good place to hang out with me if you are that kind of gal. Even if you're not, I still think it's funny. So yeah, I hope that's everything. I think that's everything. Oh, if you don't mind leaving a rating and review, it helps out my podcast so much. You just go on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and you can just tap the stars. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can leave a little note. And if you leave your Instagram, I'll shout you out and it'll be so fun. But it would mean the world to me. It helps my podcast way more than you know. Like, seriously, so crazy how much even one rating or review helps the podcast. It's like crazy. But that being said, I will not talk your ear off any longer. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and that your relationship has lots of green flags, all the green flags in the world. I love you so much. And if you're watching this on Wednesday, I hope you have a great night. If you're watching this on any other day, I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or night. And I'll see you on Sunday. All right. Bye, guys.